Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? All right. All right. Welcome or welcome back. Welcome or welcome back, Zoomies. Um, who has been here before for a class? Yeah, okay. Who hasn't been back in this room since before in Monona Terrace since before the pandemic? Anybody? A few. How exciting. Yeah. All right. So welcome back. Um, I have a little yoga studio down in Oregon, Wisconsin, so that's kind of my home base for yoga. And love, love, love coming to up here to this beautiful location to teach. Today we're gonna focus on our core and also just functional mobility, being able to move our bodies in all sorts of different ways. When I talk about core, what I mean is basically everything except your head, your arms, and your legs. But we'll still use our arms and legs, right? But we'll work on some core strengthening and a lot of torso mobility, hip mobility, shoulder mobility. If you have any injuries or you're just coming back, um, give yourself some grace. Take it slow, honor those things, work in a way that feels good to you. If you need a modification, give me a wave. I'm going to give you lots of options, or talk to me after class, or, send a message if you're a Zoomie. Um, and we'll go ahead and get started. So let's start sitting up today. With apologies to you who are comfortable laying down. We're going to start sitting up. And do this for me, or for you first. Take your legs, and if they're crossed, cross them the other way, just to check that out. If that feels better, stay there. If it doesn't, move back. If you weren't sitting cross-legged in the first place, sit however you were sitting that makes you comfortable, right? And then just draw your spine up tall. Let's put a hand on the lower belly and pull your belly a little bit in and a little bit up. And those of you on Zoom, if you're sitting in a chair, just sit up kind of so that you have to support yourself instead of leaning against the back of the chair. So we're supporting with our core muscles. We're drawing our spines up nice and tall. Let your hands drop down on your legs. Let them be heavy. Let them be real heavy. Let your shoulder blades drop down your back. If it feels good to shut your eyes, go ahead and do that. And then just arrive. You're taking this time for yourself today, these 45 minutes. Just arrive in this place and scan from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet, just noticing how you're feeling today. Noticing any places that are maybe a little tight or uncomfortable, but also noticing those places that feel rested and ready to move. Notice your energy level. Notice if you're coming to class with high energy or if you're just needing to settle in and just take this day slow. It's all okay. And then bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. We're going to do just a little bit of breath work here, both at the beginning and end of class. So breathe so that you're breathing more into your upper chest. If you just arrived, you're just getting settled, you've rushed in, maybe you're breathing a little bit more into this space. That's okay. Good. And now breathe into that lower hand, that nice belly breath. If you ever watched a baby sleep, you probably noticed their little bellies going up and down. Now see if you can bring the breath into both places equally. Maybe also feeling your body expand to the sides and the back. That rib cage opening up with each in-breath and contracting with each out-breath. Take 3 more breaths on your own. Let your hands drop to your legs and just notice. Notice if maybe your shoulders have relaxed down a little bit more. Notice if maybe you're a little bit more comfortable, a little more grounded in this place. And then on your next exhale, drop your chin down towards your chest and inhale back up. We're just warming up from the head down. So exhaling down, inhaling up at your own pace in a way that feels good to you. And the next time your head comes up, turn gently side to side. And we're just getting curious, noticing if it's equally comfortable to move both ways or if maybe there's some sticky spots. And then let your chin slide down back and forth across your chest. And if that means that you bring a little roundness to that upper back, go with it. Just let it happen. Good. And we'll come back to center. Good. Bring your hands heart center. And we're going to drop our chins down when hands are heart center. And then on the inhale, let your arms rise up. They don't have to go all the way overhead, just in a way that feels good to you. Maybe even look up if that's available today. Exhale, bring your hands heart center. Let your chin drop down. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling to reset. Good. Imagine floating up off the floor, just finding all that lightness on the inhale, settling yourself back down on the exhale. 2 more at your own pace. And once your hands come back to center, lace your fingers, turn them inside out. And let's do one inhale up here. Just go slow and only as far as feels good to your shoulders. And I see some good modifications. One arm is totally fine. Exhale, let your back round. Good. Flip your hands over, have a look at your fingers. Switch the finger that's on top. Yeah, that's going to feel pretty weird. Let's turn them inside out. That's really going to feel weird. Maybe we don't go up as high with our arms this time. Just notice, get curious. Isn't it funny how we form these patterns, these habits? Good. Turn your hand back over. Nice. Bring your hands to your shoulders, and we're going to start to make little circles. So starting to really warm up through the shoulders. Notice how smoothly you move here at this complicated joint. All right. Let's take one side and then the other. It's kind of like swimming crawl stroke with little fins. Yeah. Notice how your upper body's moving. Can you switch your arms and go backwards? Good. And then let's take both arms at the same time. Nice. One more thing here for our upper bodies. Take your hands behind your head. Exhale down. We're not pulling on our heads. We're just letting the head fall forward and bringing the elbows together on the exhale. And then the big unfolding with the inhale. Draw your arms wide. Maybe even look up a little bit. It's a lot through the back, isn't it? Through that upper back. Exhale down. Inhale up. Notice when those upper back muscles engage. Let's do one more like that. Exhale down, rounding, and inhale to open. Nice. Bring your hands back to your lap. Place your right hand down on the floor if you're on a chair. It can be just on the side of the chair. We'll reach an arm up to the sky. Keep both sides of your body long, and just whatever lateral flexion feels nice to your body today. Don't have to go real far with this. If this feels awesome and you want a little bit more, you can reach your left hand out over that right knee. Yeah. And then we'll come all the way back up. Same thing, other side. We'll take the right leg, this right arm leg right here, And reach over to the side and just notice that nice opening in the rib cage on that side. And again, nice modifications, leaving arms out if need be. Take a little twist here if you like. In and come all the way up. And drop that arm down. One more sitting. And if you like, maybe play with changing the cross of the legs just for the twist. Yeah, take a twist to one side. Maybe even look over towards that shoulder. Nice, release that. Come back to center. And then from the belly button up, we twist to the other side. Good. And come on back to center. Shake it out. And let's come to all fours. We're going to play here a little bit. If you need to take a break from being on your hands and knees, feel free to come into child's pose or do anything else that feels good. If your knees need a little padding, bring a little fold in your mat. Okay, same thing for the wrists. Yeah. Let's come into all fours. Really nice neutral spine. And we're going to play here with our spines just a little bit. First, just breathe. Take some big breaths. See if in this new position you can fill your rib cage up front, side, and back. And we're already working our core muscles. All those breathing muscles are core muscles. Good. Pause here for just a second. We're going to come into a really tiny cat and a really tiny cow, so small that nobody can see them. So this is cat here, but we're not going to go there. We're just going to turn on the muscles that would take us there. And just notice. I notice I'm pushing more with my hands. I'm noticing a little engagement in my back and my hips. I notice the tops of my feet pushing into the floor. Go ahead and move into your cat. Let those muscles work. And come back to neutral. And now turn those muscles off. Let go of those muscles. Come into the muscles that would take you to cow without moving there. And just notice. Good. And then go ahead and lift your head and your tailbone just a little bit. Big inhale to cow. Come into cat. And inhale to cow. Yeah. Let your neck get in on the action. So dropping the head down and then looking up, but not real far. We're not craning our necks. How about some big sighing exhales on those cats? You can sigh through your mouth. Into cat. Inhale through your nose to cow. Let's do two more like that. Good. Let's sit back to child's pose. Take your knees wide. Reach your arms out. You don't have to take your hips all the way back to your heels. Just notice what feels good for you. Maybe the hips stay lifted and the arms reach forward, and it's more of a puppy dog. Or maybe you bring your hands underneath your forehead, stacking fists, and let your wrists rest. Breathe here into your back 3 or 4 times. And then slowly make your way back up to all fours. We're going to come into spinal balance. Again, if you need to take a break for your wrists, go ahead and do that. Let's take the right leg back behind and just rock a little bit of head to toe, just a little bit. Keeping those toes pointing down, float your leg up just to hip height. So we're not up here, we're not turned out. We got toes pointing down. Everything's really nice and engaged back there. Add your opposite arm. If you're on your elbows, just stay there. No need to add the arm. Yeah, and breathe here. Just like when we were on all fours. You could stay here for a few breaths, or you could take 3 crunches in. We go 3, 2, And one. Very nice. Hold this one. And then bring just your hand back to the mat. Take that right leg, step it across your left leg. And yeah, come down to your elbows. Let that wrist go. If it feels good to look back toward that foot, it's a little harder on elbows than it is when we're up on our hands, but go ahead and do that. And then we'll walk back up to the hands. Take that right leg, swing it to the outside. You could be on the inside blade of the foot, or you could rock that foot flat. Take your right hand to the sky for a big twist. Yeah, while we got that hand up there, how about we shake out the wrist a little bit? That looks really neat. All right, bring your hand back in. And let's sit back to child's pose one more time. If you like, take your knees out, maybe a little wider, toes together, dropping back, or any modification that feels good to you. Stay here 3 breaths. And then make your way back to all fours. Nice. Take your left leg out behind. Maybe rock a little bit, stretching through the calf, the ankle, the foot. And then float your left leg up, toes pointing down, just hip height. That looks beautiful. Add your right arm. Breathe here. Good. And if you like, maybe those 3 crunches in. Otherwise, just hold. Good. And hold. Nice. Bring your hand back to the mat. Step your leg across. Maybe come to your ankles or to your elbows if you like. Have a look back at that foot, that ankle behind you. And then we'll take that leg, swing it all the way to the outside. Feel free to stay on the inside blade or take the foot flat. Take your left hand to the sky. Big twist. And come on back to center. Good. All right, let's come to our belly. All the way down to the belly. Working the back muscles a little bit. We spend a lot of our time forward, chin down. So we're going to play with this a little bit. Bring your hands kind of chest level. And without craning your neck up, stay looking at the floor, just lift your upper body just a little bit. And exhale down. Let's do 2 more like that. Inhale up, maybe look at the end of your mat. Exhale down. 1 more, inhaling up. And exhaling down. Slide your arms out in front. Option 1 here is to pick up opposite arm and leg. So right arm, left leg. Just notice the muscles across your back. Keep breathing. And drop that arm and leg. And we'll take the other ones up. Opposite side. Nice. All right, that's option 1. Option 2 is to add a little Pilates with some swimming here. If you're doing that, we're reaching legs, arms and legs nice and long, and we're just taking a little flutter here. Otherwise, just stay with that alternate arm and leg lift. If you're doing the flutter, let's inhale and exhale and inhale and exhale. 1 more set, inhale and exhale. Nice. Come on up with a neutral spine to all fours. Yeah. Let your back adjust. Take just a minute here. And then start to real slowly move into that cat-cow again in a way that feels good to your body. And maybe a little organic movement, maybe a little side to side or swinging the hips or sitting almost back to child's pose or anything else that feels nice. Good. And come on back to center. We're going to come into kind of a funny yoga flow. Turn your toes under. We're not going to do very many of these because I want to get us up off of our wrists. Take your hips back towards your ankles. Rock yourself forward. That's going to be our inhale. Do that one more time. Rocking the hips back and coming forward. That's option one. If you like a down dog, you could add, it's a crouching down dog. We rock forward and then we lift up to the toes and push back. Inhale, knees back to the mat. If that's no good, then just stay with that rocking front to back. Option to lift the hips and drop the knees. One more like that. Option to lift the hips. Nice. And come back down to the mat. You have two choices or more choices here. You could come to a down dog to get to standing, or you could just stand up. So your choice. If you're in a down dog, let your knees bend as much as they need to. That's completely fine. Give it a little push with your hands and then walk your hands back towards your feet. Yeah, hands to thighs, and let's roll it all the way up. And coming up to standing. Good. All right. Working a little bit of balance here. So we're going to come up to the left toes and just kind of hang out there for a second. You could bring hands to hips or anywhere else that feels good. And we're going to take that left leg and just start to make little circles. Engage your lower abs. Draw your spine up tall. Nice. And then switch and go the other way. Totally fine to put the foot down in between. Totally fine to hang on to a chair or a wall. Good. Drop that foot back down. Shake it out a little bit. We're going to come back to the same side, but we're going to make figure eights across the mat. So a little infinity sign with our toes. A little balance challenge here. Again, completely fine to hang onto a chair, the wall. Good. Can you lead with your heel? Isn't it funny how one is much harder than the other? Shake it out a little bit. Before we go to the other side, take your hips. We're going to circle them all the way around. As big of a circle as feels good to your body. And then switch and go the other way. Hard part, figure eights, side to side, infinity sign. Notice which direction you're going. Can you switch it? Nice. All right, come on back to center, shake it out a little bit. We'll go to the other side now. So balancing on the left leg, draw your spine up tall, draw a little in and a little up on your lower abs, and then start to make that circle with your right leg. Good, switch and go the other way. Nice. Go ahead and put your foot down. We'll come back for the figure eights. Let's lead with toes first. Nice, and then lead with the heel. That works. Nice. And then shake it out. Oh, we get so serious when we're doing that. We got to be silly for a second here. Bring your fingers together in front of you. Let's get a nice stable base first. So bring your feet about hip width apart. Bring a little bend to your knees. Bring your fingers together. Take your right finger, circle it forward. Some of you have done this before. Good. Stop at the top. Take your left hand, circle it back toward you. Stop at the top. Nice. Take your right hand forward, your left hand back, your right hand forward, your left hand back, right hand forward. Were we ready? You could do them both at the same time. Notice if one hand follows the other. Notice if your circles have turned into squares or triangles or anything else. And if you're just nailing it, switch it, go the other way. I have a class of teens and they say, how do you do that? And I said, can't imagine the number of hours I've spent in my room doing this, right? Shake it out a little bit. Isn't that weird? All right. So now we can come into our balance with we'll be a little bit less serious. Take your right foot, root it down, bring your left foot up. We're going to move into tree. Totally fine to leave your toes right there. Engage your core. Yep. A little in and a little up. Not so much that you can't breathe. Bring your hands heart center. Yeah. Option to bring that foot up on the leg. You could do it on the low leg. You could do it on the upper legs. Try to stay away from your knees. And I always say, if you just kind of just naturally go to your knee, just don't push. Like maybe just put your toes there, right? If we're not pushing on it, it's not going to be a problem. So we got to take care of our knees. How would it be to bring arms to the side? Notice what happens to your back muscles. How would it bring those arms forward? Balance is maybe a little more challenging. One more time, we'll take them out. Step out, shake it out. Same thing other side, rooting the left leg down, engage your core, draw yourself up tall. Toes, we're bringing that leg up to connect. Again with the knee, if you just naturally go there and it's impossible to take it down or up, just don't push, keep your foot nice and light. And we'll open. Maybe we're this kind of tree this time. Or maybe this kind of tree. Good, bring your arms back. Shake it out. All right, shake it out a little bit. All right, take feet wide, please. Totally fine to hold on to a wall or the floor on this one too, chair in the front probably. Let's inhale up and sink it down. Yeah, only as far as feels nice to your hips. Inhale up, sink it down, keep your core engaged. Inhale up as if you're pulling a big rope and it's attached to something. Pull it down. Let's do 3 more. Inhale up with resistance, pulling down. Inhale up and pull it down. Good. Stay right here. Bring your hands heart center to your hips if you like. And we're going to walk the feet. Check in with your knees, see if they're going the same direction as your toes. Totally fine to come out of this. Take a break. Good. Also totally fine to come to toes on both sides if that's available. Yeah, inhale all the way up. Let's bring feet forward, hands to thighs, forward fold. Just let it go. Let your right leg bend. Bring your right elbow to your right knee. Or if you like your hands on the floor, you could do that as well. Let your left knee bend. Go over to this side for a little stretch. Let's do 1 more each side. Good. And come on back up. Take your right leg, spin it out. Left foot's probably pretty close to where it wants to be. So we're going to come into a warrior here, sinking down. Bring your shoulders forward. And reach to the sky if that feels nice. You might bring your arms to cactus if you want to engage your upper back. Notice what that does to your low back though. If it's icky, let it go. You might bring your arms forward and create some space in the back. Yeah. Just checking out all the things. Open up to warrior two. Beautiful. Drop your shoulder blades. Take your front hand to the sky. Peaceful warrior. Good. Bring that right elbow to the right knee. Bring your left hand across the horizon. And then find that little opening of the side. Yeah. As we come back up today, let's straighten the front leg and come to revolve triangle. Nice. Sink it back down, warrior two. Let your shoulder blades drop down your back. Good. Let's reach forward. And then straighten the front leg, come to triangle. Beautiful. Keep your triangle legs one more time. Let's revolve the triangle. Come back to warrior two. Turn your feet forward. Forward fold. Just let your head hang down. Some options here. You could bring fingertips to the floor. You could reach out to your toes. You could reach through your legs. You could grab elbows, or you could keep your hands on your thighs. And then let's go ahead and bring hands to thighs. Let your knees bend and bring yourself back up. Spin your left foot out. Yep, same thing on this side. So we're going to let our hips stay at a diagonal, but bring the shoulders forward. Perfect. Maybe reaching up. Check in with that front knee, see if it's bent. Check in with that back knee and make sure it's not locked out. It's a little bend in the back knee. Option to open arms to cactus. Notice how that lands with your body. Option to bring arms forward if you want a little space in your back. Good. Let's open to warrior two. Relax your arms down. Yeah. Take your front hand to the sky, peaceful warrior. Bring that left elbow to your knee. Take your other hand across the horizon. Find that nice opening at the side. Good. And as we come back up, let your front leg straighten. And I'll reach up. Good. And come on back to warrior two. And then let's reach. Yeah. And straighten your front leg, opens up into triangle. Good. Lots of space here. Good. Keep those triangle legs. Revolve yourself back up. And come to warrior two. Nice. Turn your toes forward. Forward fold one more time, just for a couple breaths. And then let's come down to the floor, however it feels good to you. We're going to come down to our backs for a little bit of Pilates, really working through these core muscles. Yeah. So find a neutral spine while you're lying on your back, feet on the floor. Let your shoulder blades drop back. Bring one leg up so you're parallel to the ceiling. Bring the other leg up, shins parallel to the ceiling. If it feels nice, bring your upper body up. We're not going to stay here a real long time. We're going to start to pump the arms. Well, Pilates for you today. You could take your legs straight if that feels good. You could drop them down a bit if that feels nice. And we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more set. Inhale and exhale. Good. Go ahead and drop your head back to the floor. Bring your legs back to the floor. Let your legs sway a little side to side. Good. And then we're going to take that left leg. Put your left hand on the ankle, right hand on the knee. This is a big thinker. Take your right leg long. Head can be down or up. Your choice. Switch legs, switch arms. There's a lot going on. Switch. Yep. Switch. Exhale every time a leg is long. One more each side. And then gather up both knees, draw them into your chest. Give them a nice squeeze. This time we'll take hands behind our heads. And this is another one of those things where we probably have some movement patterns that we're going to try to trick a little bit. Take your left elbow to your left knee. That's not a mistake. Left elbow to left knee. And that's where everybody freezes. And then right elbow to right knee. And left elbow to left knee. So we're getting a little oblique work here. We're thinking real hard. We're not crossing to the opposite leg. We're staying on the same side leg. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Drop your head down. Take your knees and your shins together. We're going to make that figure 8 again, but this time with the knees going side to side. So that infinity sign on the ceiling. Notice the muscles that are making this work. Notice which direction you're going. Very nice. See if you can switch it. Go the other way. Take both legs to the sky just for a couple breaths. Good. Drop your left leg down and bring your upper body up if that's available. Left leg's going to get 2 little pulses, and then we're going to switch legs. If the knees are bent, that's okay. Just let that happen. 2 little puffs of air with those pulses. So it sounds like good. And then draw your knees into your chest. Let your feet drop to the floor. Take your feet wide. Drop your knees toward each other. See if that's a good thing. If it's icky, bring them back parallel. If it feels okay, start to let your knees sway side to side. And they don't have to go very far, just as far as feels good to your hips. It might feel nice to turn your head away from your legs, getting a little bit more of a twist. Good. Come on back to center. Take your right leg and cross it over your left leg. Give that right leg just the gentle push away, and then draw your left leg in towards your body. Yeah, totally fine to stay right there, or maybe straighten the left leg if that feels nice. If you want a little bit more sensation, lean your body off to the left toward that straight leg, and you'll start probably to feel a little more in your right hip. And then we'll come back to center. Draw your knees into your chest. And put your feet back on the floor. Cross left leg over right. Give that left leg just a little reminder to turn out. Draw your right leg in. Yep. Option to stay here. Option to straighten the leg. Option to lean just a little bit over to the right, just till we feel a little bit more in that left hip, if that's right for you today. And then come on back to center. Grab both knees, draw them into your chest. This time we're going to keep our legs together and just circle the legs around, a little low back massage part of the day. And switch and go the other way. Good. Go ahead and place your feet on the floor. Option to go back to just those knee swings if you like. If you're good with bridge, we're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time and just find a nice bridge. And then drop it back down. Hands can be on the floor. And inhale up. And exhale down. We're trying to keep our knees parallel, not let them splay out or drop together. Let's do one more. We're going to hold at the top this time. And we're going to put a little bit different focus on this today. Then we're going to squeeze in on the glutes. So squeeze your glutes. Also think about stretching through this front of the hip, through the hip flexors. So we're trying to take any crunching out of the low back, putting the effort in the glutes and the legs. And then drop your hips a little bit over to the right. Let your knees drop over to the left. Maybe open the arms wide. You could look to the right if you want that full twist, or you could keep your head neutral. And then come on back to center. Pick up your hips. Tip them over, move them over a little bit to the left. Tip those knees over to the right. And again, if it feels good, you can look to the left. And then gently come back to center. You could stay in constructive rest with your feet on the floor if that feels nicer to your low back, or you could take your legs out long, your choice. And we're just going to take a couple minutes here to just focus on the breath. First, do a little check-in from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. Just noticing how you're feeling today after this practice. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere. See if you can just let that go. Let your shoulder blades drop back. Let your shoulders drop back. Let your belly be soft. And then wherever you most strongly feel your breath, focus your attention there. You might be focusing on your belly rising and falling, or the expansion of your rib cage, or maybe that place where the air enters and leaves your body. They're all fine. Just hold your attention there. And if your mind starts to wander, that's okay. That's what minds do. Just gently bring it back to your breath. That breath flowing in and flowing out. If you're noticing any sounds or sensations, that's okay too. Just bring your attention back to your breath. And stay here 3 or 4 more breaths. Good. And then start to bring a little gentle movement back to your body, maybe allowing your arms and legs to move or wiggling your fingers and toes. I always like, after being flat on my back, I like to take my knees and swing them side to side just to let the low back know I'm getting ready to move. And then gently turn on one side. And then make your way to sitting. So come all the way up. For one last breath together today. If you like, you could take your arms to the sky, big inhale. Let's exhale down. May we dwell in safety. May we be happy and healthy. May we be at peace. Namaste. Thank you for coming today. Thank you, Zoomies.